His list of scholarly credentials is too long to list. Suffice to say, he's been at the forefront of the 9/11 Truth movement, doing countless lectures and interviews, including on Fox News with Sean Kennedy, the lovable Sean Kennedy. His energy and commitment to the cause of exposing the crimes of 9/11 at the highest levels of government, within our government, are invaluable. I'd like to introduce Dr. James Fetzer.
I'm very proud to be here and to follow Judy Wood, who by virtue of her background and degrees in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, materials science, may be the single most qualified scientific member of the 9/11 Truth movement. Notwithstanding her magnificent contributions, which appear to me to include the most elegant possible proof that the official government account cannot possibly be correct, her continuation at Clemson University has been terminated. At least in part, she is convinced because of her research on 9/11.
We're with you today! God bless you!
Her case may be the most striking illustration of a tendency emerging around the country of attacking faculty who are investigating 9/11. There are instances in New Hampshire where Bill Woodward, who's a psychologist, who's been teaching there for some 25 years, has been investigating psychological aspects of 9/11. Kevin Barrett from the humanities is teaching a course on Islam at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he, of necessity, is addressing the impact of the events of 9/11 on the attitude of the Islamic world toward the United States. Stephen Jones, professor of physics at Brigham Young University, whom I invited to be my co-chair when I founded Scholars for 9/11 Truth in mid-December, and who has made very significant progress in seeking to explain exactly what happened on 9/11 to the towers. And I want to accent that what Steve is attempting to do is a very different and more challenging task than being able to prove that the government's account is false. We have been able to prove the government's account is false in every significant respect. It is not just false in part. It appears to be false in its entirety. If you think of a theory as written on a paper and suspended in space with little threads that provide links down to reality that are supposed to anchor that theory, where some of those links might include passenger manifests, others might include the amount of training these guys had, others might include whether they are or are not dead. Others might include the rate of time at which the buildings fell. Others, the amount of explosive necessary to pulverize the concrete, the furniture, the desks, the computers, and turn living things, including human beings, into little specks of dust. Then you realize that when we investigate every single aspect, every one of those threads, they simply don't exist. There are no anchors between this theory to reality, which means that it has the status of a myth. And I'm going to let you in on a secret which astonished me when I discovered it, and which you can verify from even a source as accessible as Wikipedia. Philip Zelikow, who was made the executive director of the 9/11 Commission report, is not a scientist, he is not an historian. He came from the inner sanctum of the Bush administration. He had assisted in overseeing the transition of the national security apparatus from the Clinton administration to the Bush administration. He'd even co-authored a book with Condoleezza Rice.
CFR!
But most interestingly of all, His area of professional scholarly expertise is the creation and maintenance of myths. It's astonishing, but it's true. I was so stunned that I took that page of Wikipedia, captured it, and put it on our website for Scholars for 9/11 Truth, so it wouldn't simply disappear. Go there and read it for yourself. Astonishing stuff. Now, these attacks are frequently, and by the way, this appears to me to be just as blatant and in your face as hiring a company to clear out all that steel in rapid fashion over the protests of the fire departments, the fire commanders, the fire magazines who knew it all needed to be retained for forensic purposes, a company by the name of Controlled Demolition Incorporated. Now, some of the arguments that have been given for criticizing these faculty members verge on the absurd. Everyone with any experience in higher education understands there's a fundamental difference between the administration, the faculty, and the staff. The claim has been made that there's a confusion as to whether the faculty were speaking for the institution. Let me let you in on a little secret. The faculty never speak for the institution. The only individuals entrusted with that responsibility are the administrators. And believe me, the administrators know it. So if any of their faculty are being censured because they are speaking in a way that implies they're speaking for the institution, they know full well that's not possible. Faculty actually are in the category analogous to independent contractors. We always speak for ourselves and only for ourselves. So that's a clear-cut misunderstanding where criticism of them may be made for false reasons. Another is the extent to which this criticism has been taking place. You have the governor of New Hampshire, you have a United States Senator from New Hampshire attacking Bill Woodward for dealing with this in his course. You have the Republican candidate for governor, you have a Republican legislator, you even have the Democratic governor of Wisconsin attacking Kevin Barrett for dealing with this in Islam. You have Steve Jones being subjected to censure for multiple positions, and although I would say the administration had been at least mildly supportive in the past, seeking to disentangle his scientific research from public appearances and asking him to confine himself primarily to scientific contexts, lectures, and conferences, leaving to me the primary responsibility for addressing these issues in public fora. It has now altered its attitude and is subjecting him to a review and has placed him on a paid leave. They have taken this man out of the classroom, and I would observe that's particularly outrageous since he's not teaching courses on 9/11. But if he were, what would be wrong with that? Stop and think about it. Stop and think about it. The administration itself, the President of the United States, has described 9/11 as the pivotal event of the 21st century. This is the event that changed everything. In our society, the institutions that are dedicated to investigating significant historical events are colleges and universities. To suggest that the faculty of colleges and universities should not be studying the pivotal event of the 21st century is absurd.